In this section of this series, we're going to be creating the menu page for our restaurant. So I'm just going to scroll down a bit so we can look at the highlights of what the finished product of this page is going to look like. So I'm just also going to show you what the design looks like. So this is the completed page. So I've already brought in my images, all the images I'm going to use in this section. So you can go ahead and do that. It's just going to make working on our design much more easier. So we're going to work on the menu page. First things first, I'm going to I want to select this image, and I'm just going to reduce it. What I'm going to do is select this header section, and I can just delete that. I'm going to go to the home page, copy it, and then select the frame and then paste. We're going to have our menu here, so I'm just going to make sure it's going to be 65 from the top. Next up, let's now insert our image. So this is the image we're going to use for the backdrop here, and I'm going to just select it, and at this corner we're going to have this arrow where the arrow is pointing into direction. That means we can rotate it. Hold shift down and rotate it in this direction like this, so it's at minus 90 degrees, and this is the height and this is the width. So the height is the width is this, and this is the height. So we're going to change the height to 1440, and now it's going to get longer. Now we're going to change the height. So let's double click, and then this handle we're going to reduce it to 350. So I'm just going to reduce it till it's at 350. Now hold shift down so we don't move the image around, and I'm just going to raise it up, let me say right around here, and we can just close this dialog. I'm going to zoom out, select the image, cut, come back to the layout, select this image placeholder, Ctrl Shift R, and we're going to place it. We're going to replace it there. And just to make sure, we're going to select the image, select this, and what we want in between these two is 40. So currently for me it's 38. It's going to be 40, so I just need to move it twice. Move it however times you need to get to a spacing of 40 between the image and the header section. Next, we can just we can just delete this rectangle. I'm going to select this text. The resizing currently is set to auto width. I suggest you do that too. Next, let's change the typography to restaurant desktop heading. Click on that. Next, let's change the alignment of the text to center. While the text is selected, make it an auto layout using Shift A, and now we're going to increase the padding for left and right to 60, and the padding for top and bottom is also going to be 60. Let's scroll down. We're going to add a fill, and the fill is currently set to white. You can change it right now if you want to background color. You could leave it. I'm just going to leave it for now, so that when we're working from top to bottom, we're going to do that. I'm just going to close that. And next we're going to go over here, and then we're going to add a stroke. So just one. We're going to add a stroke, and then go over to the fill option, and we're going to no, not there, sorry. Let's open our libraries, our style library, and we're going to use, let's use this one, restaurant gradient 1. We're going to change that, and yeah, that's it for this one. Let's now align it to the middle of our layout, so the center of our layout, and also the middle of this image, like this. Now for this text, let's change the typography. So open your style library, and we're going to use the body text. So restaurant desktop body is the text we're going to use. Let me move this button out of the way. I'm going to come over to my notes and I'm going to copy this text and I'm going to paste it here. Oh, this reserve a table is not supposed to be here. It's for the button. The width of this text is going to be from the third line, from the third column to the 10th column. So we're going to just subtract, like have it in between, just remove 2 from the front and then 2 behind it. So next, what we're going to do is this top section here, highlight it, Control I to italize it, and then we're going to have this button. So let's zoom out a bit. Once again, if you have a button already in your asset library, you can use it, but I typically tend to leave that for last during my prototype process. It will make sense when we get to the end. So I'm going to select this and copy this button. I'm going to come here, Control Shift and R to replace it, and I'm just going to align it to the center. Select this text and this button, make it an auto layout. We're going to now check the gap. So the current gap is 30, the gap should be 20. So whatever it is in yours, you can just go ahead and change it to 20. And that's it for this top introductory section. I'm going to need a bit more space, so I'm just going to select layout and I'm going to increase the, I don't know if this will be enough or if it's too much. So I'm just going to move this down, and I could just delete this because we can just reuse this section. So I'm just going to select all of this and just bring it down a bit like this. Now I'm going to select this text here and I'm going to go over to typography and I'm going to change this to restaurant desktop subheading. I'm going to go to my notes and I'm going to grab the text, copy that, and then paste. Let me change the resizing of the text to auto width, and I'm just going to move this text. Oops, that was the wrong one. I'm going to move this to the center of our frame. Next up is this image. So we're going to, I'm only going to do this section. So when we do it, I'll just show you how to do it. It's pretty straightforward, and then you can do the rest yourself. We're going to have these images. So the way it is here, where it's on 4 columns, and then we're going to just add the height. So what we're going to do is check the width of this placeholder. So it's already on 4 columns and the width is 384. So that's what we'll do for all our images. Then the height we're going to use is 595. So what I'm going to do is come over to this image, change the width to 384. You know what, I could have just done that for all the images. So I think that's what I'll just do. I'm going to select all these images, go to width, and just make all of them 384. Now we're going to go through them one by one to crop them. Let's start with this first one. I'm going to double click, and this is less than 595. So what I'm going to do is increase this till we have 595. Hold shift down and then drag the image till it fits within the outline. And then I'm just going to zoom out and then close that dialog. Next, I'm just going to select the image, cut, select this image placeholder, Control Shift R to replace it there. So this image now is over that text and this rectangle. No worries. Select your left square bracket to send to the back. Oh, I realized what's going now. I thought the image placeholder and it was a group, not a text. No worries. So I'll just select this. I'm going to ungroup this, and I'm just going to select this text, or you could insert another text That's not a problem. I'm just going to bring a copy here. I'm going to go over to typography and change this to we need description. What's the size of the text label? Okay, sorry, restaurant desktop label. That's the text we're using. I'm going to click on that so we can't really see the text. So let's just format this so we can see what's going on behind. I'm going to, while this is selected, I'm just going to make it an auto layout. I just want to make sure that we have, let's all have equal, will I say text, the width of this text box, so that it will be equal across all our projects. So the width for my text box is currently 301. Let's make it 303. So that way it's not just kind of guessing, because we are going to place it over the images. I just want everything to be equal. So once again, select the frame and then make the padding for the left and right 14, and the padding for the top and bottom 20. Let's now scroll down and I'm going to add a fill. So it's currently set to white. We can just leave it like that. When we're going through the project, will change the color. And I'm just going to close this dialog. Next up, let's add a stroke. Add stroke, and then let's open our style library, and I'm going to use restaurant gradient 2 for this one, and I'm going to click on that. Let's now insert our text. So I'm going to scroll down. So this is the text for the first item. I'm going to copy it and then I'm going to paste. So we should have something like this. I want to see if it's not. So I'm going to select this text, and under width I'm going to make it fill container so that it's responsive, just in case we want to change the dimensions, and that's what we have. So the placement of this box, we're going to just move it till it's at the center of this image. Then I want it to be 25 px from the bottom of the image. So I'm just going to hold Alt, and it's currently 22 for me, so I'm going to move it 3 times till it's 25. So you can just go ahead and check that this box is 25 from the bottom. And I'm going to zoom out. While this frame is selected, I'm going to select the image and then I'm going to group it. Now I'm going to copy this. This is currently, I want to make it easier for me to do carry out the next step. I'm going to select all of this, Control Shift R, and I'm going to replace all of it. It would seem I didn't get that. I just wanted to do it all at once, so I just replace all of those placeholders with this. So now what I'm going to do is reformat these images and then add their description, and then we're going to space things out. What I'm going to do, let's start with the images first. So remember, the height of this is 595. So we're going to format the height of all of these images, whether they are smaller or larger. We're going to reformat them so that they are all 595. So I'm going to zoom into this. They're all currently, all their width are currently 384. That's fine. I'm going to zoom in, double click, increase this till it's 595, hold shift, increase this so that it fits, and then I'm going to use escape to close that dialog. Next, I'm going to select this one, double click, and once again increase this till it's at 595, hold shift and then move it so it fits within the outline. Use escape to close that dialog. I'm going to do the same for this one. Let's see, this is 576. I'm going to increase it to 595, hold shift so that it fits, move it, and so that it fits within the outline. Escape. You know, this one, I just realized something. This image, remember the text, the description is going to be here, so it's going to be covering the dish. So what we can do is just select this and we can rotate it. hold shift down, and then just rotate it 180 degrees. Now let's move on to this one. This one, we have to increase it 595, increase the size of the image so that it fits within the outline. Close that dialog. This is much smaller. I'm going to double click, increase this to 595, hold shift, increase the size of the image till it fits within the outline, and then once again close the dialog. Now I'm going to select this one. I'm going to cut and then select the image. You can keep your eyes on the left side, you can see what you are selecting, and then I'm going to select the image and then I'm going to replace it. And if you want, you can add the text. I'm just going to add all my images. I'm going to cut this one, select the image and replace using Ctrl Shift and R, and then so I had to stop the recording because I didn't like this image. It was zoomed in and I just felt like it didn't really go with, like, you can see the entire dish, at least to some degree. I didn't like how zoomed in it was. We're still going to zoom in this one, but I just wanted to change this image because I didn't really like it. So I'm going to change the width to 384 and double click, change this. Don't worry, when you are doing your own project, you're going to have the right image. So this is going to be 595 like this, and I'm going to hold shift down, increase this, then from the top I want to select the image, hold shift, and I'm going to just keep moving it till this time we can see more of the dish instead of just having an extremely zoomed in image. Let me see, I know that this is quite zoomed in as well, but I think I'll prefer this over the previous one, and I actually prefer this one. So I'm going to cut this and Ctrl Shift R. There's no real reason to do it whenever I'm designing. Sometimes I'll pick an image and it will look fine, but when I'm looking at it a second time, I'll just feel this doesn't really quite go well with it. So that's why sometimes I'll change things around. So there's no real reason to it. You can use whatever image you want, but sometimes I get I'm not a perfectionist, but sometimes I just want things to look a certain way. Anyway, that's enough talking. So I'm going to grab my text. So this is the second item. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to replace. Now you'll see that this is one of the reasons why I actually like using AI generated text. If you're using Lorem Ipsum text, you'll be using text of equal sizes. But if you're using text that you've generated, they tend to have different sizes, different lengths. So it gives you time to play around with things. So it's up to you to decide if you want the text, let me say you want them to align to the bottom or you want them to align at the top. You just pick one in cases like this. In my case, I just want all of them to have the same spacing at the top. So even though this one is 25 from the bottom, this is probably something different. All I know is at this top, they are all equal. I'm going to zoom out and copy this and paste. We have the next one. I'm going to paste. I'm going to copy this, paste, and then finally I'm going to copy this and then paste. So these are 6 items for starters. Next up, what I'm going to do is select this tree And just to make sure, I want to make sure they are aligned, and I'm just going to group these three. I'm going to select this tree, and I want to see they are all aligned to the top. I'm going to group. The spacing between the subtitle or this title here and this group is going to be 25, and the spacing between this one and this one is going to be 24. So I'm going with the spacing between subheadings and the item, whether it's text or an image, as a standard for this design is always 25. However, I'm matching the spacing of the images in between each other to match the spacing of the gutters of the layout, if that makes sense. So that's why here is 24, because I'm matching the gap here. That's what I tend to do when I'm working with images. If I'm using the layout and there are gaps in between, I'll try to match the same spacing at the bottom in between the images. But the spacing for this and this, which is the spacing between titles and items or content, is 25. So that's why I went with. I'm going to select all three items and then group. So this is the starter section. So what we're going to do now, we have 4 sections. So these are the images for the other sections. Hopefully you've downloaded them. What I'm going to do now is zoom out, and I guess you already know what's going to happen. We are going to copy it. We're going to need more space. I think I'll just have to move this entire thing because I like having everything in line. I'm just going to increase the height of this layout, and I'm just going to create one more copy. So what you're going to do now is, for this one, we're going to change it, and we're going to change the content to mains. So what we did here, you're going to do the same. So just change the title here to mains, and then from left to right, I've already these images are placed in the order they're going to appear here, so you can just go ahead and do that. So I'm going to stop recording the video, and then I'm going to do that and then come back. So I've gone ahead to add items. So let's take a moment to look at each section. So we have mains. This is the order of images from left to right. These images will come in, let's look at it. So for mains, I presented them the way I just placed them in this image when I had them earlier at the left side. That's how they appear in your page. So when you have this is from left to right. So you have one, this one is the first one, second one, and then you have the third one. Then the images is also in the same order. So just in case you won't make any mistake. And this is how I zoomed into this particular one. I would have preferred an image that was more zoomed out, but this was the best I could find, even for this one too. Next one, I zoomed in quite a bit on this one. Same thing, the images as they appear and the text as they appear from top to bottom, you just arrange them left to right essentially. So this is how I zoomed into this particular image for desserts. Next, we have drinks and cocktail. Once again, I just cropped out the hand of the person holding this container. So that's what it looks like. For the next part, we're going to need a text. So let me go to my notes, and I'm going to come to the last item under the last category, and I'm going to insert a text, and I'm going to move it so it's on the edge. Just keep 2 columns and then start at the 3rd column, and then reduce this text so it's at the end of this column number 10. Next up, we're going to need a button. So what I'm going to do is come over to the top. If you have a button in your assets library, you can go ahead and use that. And I'm just going to come here, and then I'm going to paste this, and I'm going to have this here. And this text is going to remain the same. For this button, I'm just going to create another one, and then I'm going to grab the text, which is contact us, and I'm going to paste that here. Next, let's select this button and this one. We're going to make it an auto layout, and the gap is going to be 20. Now select, let me move it, hopefully we can center them. If we can't, down, okay, select the text and then this frame, make it an auto layout. Gap is also going to be 20. Now for this footer section, that's going to be easy. You can save the footer as a component. In case you want to use it in another wireframe, you can use it as a component, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to copy from this other page, select this one, and I'm going to replace it there. So now we have our footer section. Now let's scroll back to the top of this page so that we can space the items. So the spacing for, we're going to select this image and then this item here. Currently it's at 39 for me. The spacing for this section is going to be 60. So from the image to this text on top, it's going to be 60. Select this section here, or this item here, and we're going to now select every other thing, because the spacing is also going to be equal for all other sections. Okay, with the exception of this side, we're going to make the spacing, it's going to look very close to it. So let's make the spacing, I feel like, yeah, I don't have enough space. If you have enough space, that's all right. Let me just give myself a little bit more space. Okay, now I'm just going to select this, and the spacing between these two is going to be 25. Next, I'm going to select this section and the footer section, and the spacing is going to be 200 also. And then finally, I'm going to reduce the height of this frame so it fits just beneath the footer section. Now let's change the colors. I'm going to, of course, check the header section. We copied it from the other page, so we know that all colors are fine. Or in selection colors, we have all colors, and I'm going to select this one. We haven't changed it yet, so here where it's black, we're going to change it to the text color, and then where it's white, we're going to change it to background color. Select this section, and where it's black, so we have I believe because we copied the button from the home page, that's what has this color. So under styles, we're going to change the black to text color. I'm going to select this one, so we have both the black and white. So we're going to change the black to text color and white to background color. Same with mains, I'm going to do the same, text, and then for this one is going to be background. Select desserts, we're going to change this black color to text and this one to background. Select this, just do the same, background, and for this section where it's black, change it to the text color. Just to make sure, I'm going to come back to the top, select the, and this is why I always check, so something has the white and I'm trying to figure out what exactly, maybe, and it seems I'm not kind of finding it. Let me just let me try and find what I'm missing. Okay, I figured it out, and it was actually quite simple. It was the biggest item here. So this is why after I've changed everything, I'll always go back to the I'll select the entire layout so that I can look at the entire thing. And then, so when I was, you see when I clicked on it, I was using this. So let's say I select this, and if I pick let's say this, what Figma will do it to highlight the area that has that. So that's why you see me when I was clicking on it, I was going through each section, and then if you select this, it's going to highlight what areas has that particular color. And then another thing is, even though this style of wireframe has its benefits, it also has its drawbacks. Meaning that, you remember when I was creating this part, this first one, I didn't know it was a group, and then I used it, and then there was a text just hanging around here. What I did was I was highlighting each section just in case there was something behind I couldn't see, instead of going through the layers here, because I can't tell. I don't even like, due to how cumbersome it will be, I don't even rename. You can, when you finish, you can rename it, but for the tutorial, because of how cumbersome it is, I don't even rename. So the best way to do that is just go by. So I just wanted to show you what I was doing, and I went through like this, so that way I can select everything that is in each section, but I couldn't figure out what it was. So now I know what it is. It's the background. So I just if you see the fill here, I've not changed the background color, so I'm just going to do that and then change it to background. Once again, select it, and I'm going to expand selection colors, and I see that I have all my colors. So I just wanted to put that in there, so you see that everything doesn't go perfect all the time. It's just once in a while you run into some hiccups, and you just need to know how to handle them. But anyway, that's it for the menu page. Of course, let's look at it in the prototype view. So I can just come over to this, and I'm going to move on to the next page. Give this a moment, and there we go. So this is the menu for our website. I'm just going to scroll down so you can see. So it's a very simple design with just a few details in it. If you want to add any details, you can, but for now, let's just proceed as it is. But yeah, that's it for the menu page.